Okay, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you just stared at the ceiling? No phone in your hand, no podcast in your ears, no productivity hack running in the back of your mind. Just you and the plaster. If you're like most people in 2026, within about 90 seconds, a tiny frantic voice in your head starts screaming. It says, "What are you doing? You could be learning a language. You could be researching the latest AI pivot. You could at least be folding the laundry." We have been conditioned to feel like every single second of our lives is a natural resource that must be mined, refined, and sold. I call this the chronic internal audit. It's that nagging guilt that follows you into your hobbies, your rest, and even your dreams. If you enjoy baking, you're told you should be streaming it. We've turned our joy into unpaid internships for our own personal brands. Think about it, even our self-care has become a task on a to-do list. We track our sleep, we optimize our morning sunlight, and we quantify our meditation. It's exhausting. That feeling of guilt isn't a personality flaw, my friends. It's the sound of a global system trying to harvest your soul. It wants every bit of your attention to be productive for someone else's bottom line. But what if I told you that the secret to surviving this hyper-optimized world isn't a better calendar or a faster processor? What if the secret is to be intentionally, gloriously useless? Today, we're diving into an ancient survival strategy called Wuyang, a concept that is about to become your new superpower in the age of total efficiency. So let's go back about 2,400 years to ancient China. We're looking for a guy named Zhuangzi. He lived during the Warring States period, which was basically a multi-century real-life battle royale. In that world, if you were a strong man, you were drafted into the army and sent to die. If you were a beautiful woman, you were taken to the palace. If you were a straight, sturdy tree, you were immediately chopped down to build a spear or a palace pillar. Back then, being useful was literally a death sentence. Zhuangzi tells this amazing story about a carpenter who comes across a massive, gnarled oak tree. It's ancient, it's huge, but it's a total mess. Its branches are too twisted to be used for timber. Its fruit is too bitter to eat. If you tried to make a boat out of it, the wood would rot and the boat would sink. The carpenter scoffs and says to his apprentice, "This tree is good for nothing. It's a waste of space." But that night, the tree comes to the carpenter in a dream. It says, "You want to be useful? Look at the cherry trees and the orange trees. Because they are useful because they produce sweet fruit, they are stripped, beaten, and broken every single year. Their utility is their misery. Their gift is what gets them killed." I have been working on being useless for a very long time, and that is exactly why I'm still standing. This is the Wuyang, the usefulness of the useless. Think about how that applies to you right now in 2026. If you are perfectly useful to your corporation, they will harvest every drop of your energy until you're a burnt-out husk. If you're a perfectly optimized tool, you get used until you break. But if you have parts of yourself that are gnarled, hobbies that make no money, thoughts that don't fit into a tweet, skills that serve no corporate purpose, those are the parts of you that are safe. Those are the parts that belong entirely to you. Can you be brave enough to be good for nothing in the eyes of the machine? Wait, this is the part that totally blew my mind when I first read it. There's a 20th century philosopher named Joseph Pieper who wrote a book called Leisure, The Basis of Culture. He argues that we have the whole concept of work-life balance completely backward. We usually think of rest as a way to recharge so we can go back and produce more. We sleep so we can work, but Pieper says that's insane. He argues that we don't rest so we can work. We work so we can reach a state of uselessness, which he calls leisure. Leisure isn't just lying on a couch. It's the state of being fully human, where you aren't doing something for a purpose. It's wonder, it's play, it's the stuff that makes life actually worth living. Here's the hard truth. A hammer is defined by its utility. If a hammer and we throw it away, but you are not a tool. You are the reason tools were invented in the first place. You are the end, not the means. Now, let's connect this to our world today. We are living in the age of total AI optimization. Machines can now do useful things better, faster, and cheaper than any human. They can code, they can analyze spreadsheets, they can optimize global supply chains, but can an AI feel a sudden, useless burst of awe while watching a ladybug on a leaf? Can it decide to take the long way home just because the light hits the buildings in a certain way? No, These inefficiencies, our capacity for wonder, our tendency to wander, our glorious failures, these are no longer bugs in the system. They are the ultimate status symbols of biological authenticity. In an age where efficiency is automated, being inefficient is what makes you real. You aren't a broken hammer. You're a human being who was never meant to be a hammer at all. Okay, so philosophy is great, but how do we actually build a life out of gnarled branches in a world that wants to prune us? We need some tactical rebellion. First, I want you to take the unmonetizable vow. Pick one thing you love, maybe it's drawing, or playing the harmonica, or identifying different types of moss in the woods. Now, formally vow to yourself that you will never ever make a single cent from it. You won't post it for likes, you won't try to build a following around it, and you won't even try to get good at it for the sake of progress. Just do it because it's fun and completely pointless. Next, try the no-goal walk. Leave your phone and your fitness tracker at home. Walk outside for 20 minutes without a destination. Reclaim your spatial sovereignty from the GPS. If you don't have a goal, the algorithm can't optimize your route. You're literally becoming invisible to the system. And finally, embrace digital cloaking. The ad algorithms want to categorize you into a neat little box so they can sell you things. They want to know your marketable traits. By leaning into your useless hobbies, by being intentionally mediocre at things, you become a glitch in their data. You're like Zhuangzi's gnarled tree. You're too weird and unclassifiable to be harvested. You're protecting your soul by refusing to be a polished, finished product for someone else to use. Your value isn't your price tag. Pick a hobby today that will never, ever see a buy button. We're actually seeing this movement start to bubble up in pop culture already. Look at the still life trend on social media, where people are just live streaming themselves doing absolutely nothing, not as a meditation guide, but as a direct protest against the attention economy. Or the film The Glitch, where the protagonist survives a futuristic surveillance city by losing every single one of their marketable traits. People are waking up. They're realizing that the most valuable parts of their lives are the ones that serve no purpose to anyone else. Zhuangzi's gnarled oak didn't just survive, it became a sacred spirit. Because it couldn't be used as timber, it grew for centuries until it became a monument to life itself, life that refuses to be processed. So, here's my final takeaway for you. Stop trying to be a better tool. A hammer is useful. A wrench is useful. You are a human being, and you are the reason those tools exist. Your worth is inherent, not functional. Protect your gnarled branches. Stay useless in the eyes of the system. In an age of total optimization, being unoptimizable isn't just a lifestyle choice, it is a quiet, powerful act of rebellion for the sovereignty of your soul. It is the only way to stay standing when the world wants to cut you down and turn you into a pillar for someone else's palace. Go out there and be gloriously good for nothing. I'll see you in the next one.